Campeones, campeones, ole, ole, ole. Campeones, campeones, ole, ole, ole. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News' live stream. It's May 15, 2023. It's a great freaking day to be a Barcelona fan. Besides the fact that we are champions, there's also a lot of good news to share with you, like that Barcelona have committed to the signing of Leo Messi. There's also all the jobs that Laporta has told Alemany that he needs to complete before leaving. We're going to discuss all of that. And finally, as I had said before, Gundogan has accepted a salary reduction, and we now know what kind of figures he has accepted. We're going to discuss all of that. But of course, the biggest and most important news is that Football Club Barcelona have been crowned the 2022-2023 La Liga Champions. I'll say that once again for those of you who didn't hear, or for all the haters and all the Real Madrid fans. Football Club Barcelona have been crowned the 2022-2023 La Liga Champions after 4 very long years. 4 years that saw some of the darkest periods in the history of the club. 4 years that saw a pandemic shutter the Camp Nou's doors and wreak financial havoc on the club. 4 years that saw the entire board of directors, led by the crook, Josep Maria Bartomeu, resign in disgrace, but not after they had left Barcelona in total financial and sporting ruin. 4 years that saw Barcelona on the brink of bankruptcy with over 1.3 billion euros in debt. 4 years that saw sporting disappointment after sporting disappointment, with the 8-2 against Bayern Munich in Lisbon, with 2 seasons in a row being sent to the Europa League and eliminated from it. 4 years that saw the biggest legend in the history of our club, Leo Messi, leaving the club in tears. 4 years that saw the sacking of Ernesto Valverde, the hiring and sacking of Quique Setién and Ronald Koeman, and the disastrous job that they did as coaches. 4 years that saw some of our biggest icons leave the club, like Luis Suarez and Gerard Piqué. 4 years that saw a planned and orchestrated media campaign to destabilize the club and ruin its reputation, whether through the Barçagate story or through the Enrique Negreira case story. 4 years that saw Javier Tebas use his position as the president of La Liga to put roadblock after roadblock in the way of Barcelona. And finally, 4 years that saw the arrival of Joan Laporta and his board of directors. Joan Laporta, someone who had no obligation to come back, who could have remained with his legacy and reputation as one of the best presidents in the history of the club completely intact. Because in 2003, when he became president, he took over a Barcelona that was in a lot of trouble. And not only did he rebuild the club, but he also helped build one of the best teams in the history of Barcelona, or the best team in the history of Barcelona. They went on to win a sextuple under Pep Guardiola. And Joan Laporta could have went into retirement happy with his legacy intact as one of the best presidents in the history. But yet he accepted the job. He came back. He took over a Barcelona that was even in bigger ruin than it was in the early 2000s, knowing damn well that his legacy was at stake, that if he failed as the president of Barcelona, people were only going to remember his failure and not as his success as during his first term. And he didn't care. He took the job. He's rolled up his sleeves alongside people like Rafa Yuste, like Matteo Alemany, like Jordi Cruyff. They got to work. They started to bring the club back to financial health with the activation of the economic levers, with bringing more sponsors, with pushing through the Espai Barca deal that's going to see the biggest investment in the infrastructure of the club. And then he took on the big risk of bringing Xavi Hernandez as the coach, someone who, just like Laporta, they had no obligation to come back to the club. Xavi could have easily continued coaching in other places, keeping his status or his legacy as a Barca legend intact. But yet he came to the club with everything to lose, knowing damn well what a big responsibility it is to be a Barcelona coach, how much pressure it is on you to be a Barcelona coach, knowing damn well that if he failed as a coach, people were only going to remember his failure as a coach and forget what he did as a player. He took on the job. He got to work with Cruyff. He got to work with Alemany to start building this new project. And despite all the financial restrictions and all the financial fair play rule restrictions and everybody telling Barcelona that they couldn't sign anyone, they went ahead and signed the likes of Robert Lewandowski, who's been absolutely instrumental in the club's success so far. Someone like Koundé, who's been a beast in the defense, and someone like Andreas Christensen, who has been the biggest surprise out of all. Someone who came as a free agent, who came under the shadow of Rudiger, where everybody said that Barcelona had been scammed, that they had signed the worst defender of Chelsea, and that Madrid had taken the best defender in Rudiger. But yet Christensen proved himself not only to be a fixture of this club, but also as one of the best defenders in the world. And everybody got to work in this new project. And this was a long season with lots of ups and downs, with sometimes the team looking like they were doing great, followed by matches where they looked like absolute disaster, where it looked like Xabi didn't know what he was doing, where it looked like the team didn't know what they were doing. But despite the media criticism, despite the fans' criticism, they continued working, they continued fighting. And yesterday was the culmination of all the hard work, of all the sweat, of all the tears, of all the blood that was poured in, not just by Xabi and the players, but by the technical staff, by the board of directors, by everybody that works for this incredible institution that we call FC Barcelona, as Barcelona were crowned the 2022-2023 La Liga Champions. And this is the first La Liga title of the Joan Laporta's board of directors. It's the first title of the Xabi era. It's the first title of the post-Messi era. And it's the first title of this new era. And don't get it twisted. This is only the beginning, because this project is only going to get better. Yes, Joan Laporta and the board of directors have done a great job in bringing back the club to financial stability, but that is only the beginning. It's only going to get better. The club is only going to keep recovering more and more financially speaking. And yes, Xabi has started this project alongside Cruyff and Alemany, but this project is only going to get better as the players gain more and more experience and as the club sign more and more players. So this is only the beginning. Things are only going to get better because Barcelona always comes back. Yes, we've had several low points in our history, and I'm sure we're going to have more low points in our future. But one thing is for sure, and that's that FC Barcelona always comes back, and they always come back stronger. And yesterday was the biggest evidence of that. So let's all celebrate this amazing and historical moment. We deserve it as culés. After 4 years of heartache, after 4 years of disappointment, after 4 years of watching matches in total disbelief, we can finally say we are La Liga champions and the FC Barcelona are back. So let's all celebrate together this historical moment, and let's shout as loud as possible, Visca Barça, Visca Catalunya, and let's fucking go. Anyways, guys, I've been talking for a while. Let's head to the comment section. Let's see what you guys are saying, how you guys are celebrating. Again, it's a great fucking day. I'm sorry for cursing, but I'm very excited. I'm also sorry for not doing a video yesterday or a live stream. I had went out to a La Liga event to watch the match, and I was so happy. I ended up staying all day out on the street celebrating. So I wasn't able to make a video or a live stream, but hopefully you guys will forgive me and we can celebrate today. So let's head to the comment section. Let's see what you guys are saying, and then we'll get to the news, because there is news despite the huge news that we are champions. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Seems like everybody's super excited. Everybody's celebrating. I love it. Barcelona FC says you need to start going live on TikTok. I agree. I do. By the way, if you guys don't know, I do have a TikTok channel. It's also called Barca News. I do much shorter video, obviously, because of how TikTok works. But if you guys want to check it out, again, it's called Barca News on TikTok. The link is also in the YouTube channel description. Well, not description. It's under one of the, I think it's called a tab called links or something, or maybe about. Anyways, the horse says, I'm greedy, ready for more titles. We all are. But remember, this is still a growing project. So one step at a time, titles will come, but let's take it one step at a time. All right, let's see what else. David says, Boomerang FC will always come back. Yes, exactly. Nima says, everyone, I know expectations will rise, but please don't forget that improvement is a spectrum. Exactly. Thank you, Nima. Yes, titles are going to come, no doubt about it. But again, one step at a time. La Liga was the main objective of the season. We won it. Let's build upon that. Let's not expect that we're going to win the sextuple next season. One step at a time. Whew. Yes, Leon says 44 watching. Let's make it 44 likes. Yes, please, guys, hit that like button. It goes a long, long way in helping this channel. You know, it prompts the YouTube algorithm to recommend the video to more people. Of course, the more people watch, the more the channel grows. Also, don't forget to subscribe. And I know I always say this, but I always like to say the following, and it's that for you guys who have already subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys are freaking amazing. And if it wasn't for you, I'd be just some crazy guy talking into my camera. So thank you for always supporting the channel. And let's start with some news because I feel like I've been talking forever. And I know you guys want to hear the good news. Let's start actually not so much with good news, but let's start with the scenes that we saw in the stadium. Very, very sad scenes. Very pathetic on behalf of Espanyol's fans. For those of you who didn't see it, Barcelona were celebrating on the field after the match ended. And while celebrating, these fans stormed the field and they were trying to hurt the players and hurt the technical staff. Very, very shameful behavior on behalf of the Espanyol fans. Very pathetic. Absolutely unacceptable. I mean, some are even trying to blame Barcelona for celebrating, but Barcelona didn't do anything wrong or anything different than what any other team would have done. They were just celebrating. They weren't, going up to the fans talking crap or trying to fight with them. They were celebrating amongst each other. Every team does that. Atletico de Madrid, when they won La Liga two seasons ago, they celebrated at the Camp Nou. The fans got up, they applauded them because that's what you do. That's what sportsmanship looks like. But what Espanyol fans did was absolutely unacceptable, trying to hurt players, trying to hurt the technical staff. And there's talks about now that Espanyol could not only are they going to get most likely relegated to the second division, but they can get a fine up to 600,000 euros. And that's a lot of money for a club the size of Espanyol. So that's something that these idiot fans should have thought about, is not only are you acting like a moron when you do things like this, but you're also hurting your own club because now your club is going to have to pay money, and that's money that's a club like Espanyol simply does not have, laying around, and they can just easily pay it up. But very, very unfortunate scenes. Thankfully, it didn't ruin the party. The players continued partying in the locker room. There's a lot of videos on Instagram and the FC Barcelona channel. Very funny videos with John Laporta jumping up with the players. Everybody spraying water on him. It's reported saying that the party continued all night. Apparently, the players all went out to clubs. They were partying all night. Neymar, very surprisingly, chartered a private jet and flew in the late hours of the night from Paris to Barcelona to celebrate with the players. Messi wasn't present personally, but he did apparently call the players, and he was there through video conference celebrating with them. So lots of happiness in the city of Barcelona. And of course, today it was the trophy tour. For the first time in the history of the club, it was both the men and the women's team on top of those buses going through the streets of Barcelona, celebrating with the fans. It took about 3 hours. The streets were absolutely packed with fans. Crazy scenes out of the city of Barcelona. I'm really glad to see that the team were able to bring this joy again to a city that has suffered a lot, to a fan base that has suffered a lot these past 4 years. Anyways, let's talk about news real quick. And it's, despite the celebration, despite all the happiness, work continues behind the scenes. Jean Laporta has promised more signings to come because he wants to build on the momentum of this whole project. And he has told Matteo Alemany that he wants him to finalize several projects, or if not finalize, at least tee them up, get them ready to where they're almost complete and where Deco can take over and finish them. But he doesn't want to leave these projects hanging. And these projects are Ansu Fati and Ferran Torres. The club want an answer on what's going to happen with these players before Alemany leaves. Ansu Fati is starting to look more and more likely that he might leave in the summer. Again, he hasn't been performing ever since his surgery and his multiple injuries. He's also someone who came up through the academy, so he didn't cost Barcelona any money. So his sale would be 100% pure profit. But again, Barcelona don't want to sell him for a low price, only if it's 70 or 80 million euros, because they have to justify selling one of the pearls of the academy, to the fans, and they can't justify if they go or turn around and sell them for 20, 30 million euros. As far as Ferran Torres, I've been saying for a while that Ferran Torres is a little bit tricky because of the whole amortization thing. If he can't be sold for less than 42 million euros or more, if he's sold for less than that, then the club would have to incur a loss on their books. That would, of course, would affect the club negatively. So there was talks about maybe Ferran staying, but now the new reports are saying that John Laporta and the club really want a solution for Ferran Torres, and they're even contemplating selling him at a loss because they know they need to offload players to make space for the incoming ones. And if they have to sell him for a loss, they will. But of course, it all depends on how big of a loss that is. If someone maybe offers, and these numbers are again made up, these are not for sure numbers, but let's say if someone offers you 35 million, you're like, okay, I'm at 7 million euros loss. That might be doable, versus if someone offers you 10 mil and now you're like 32 mil in loss, then maybe not. But there is that contemplation of selling Ferran at a loss. Now, there's also the whole matter of Kessie and Rafinha. Laporta has also told Alemany that he wants, an answer of what's going to happen. Kessie, the club wants to offload him because he has really good market value in Italy and even in the Premier League. He came as a free agent. So again, his sale would be 100% pure profit. And he's someone who hasn't been really getting much playing time. So it doesn't make sense, to keep someone on the bench who you can make, 40 million euros off of him in pure profit. It goes a long, long way as far as the feasibility plan. Remember, the feasibility plan, they have to sell up to 100 mil. So if you can sell Kessie for 40 right there, you're almost halfway there. As far as Rafinha, Xabi has really asked the club to make a huge effort to keep Rafinha. So the club are aware of that. So Rafinha is a last ditch effort. If everything goes wrong, if plan A, B, C, D, E all go wrong, then the club will contemplate selling Rafinha. But for now, he's a last resort because Xabi really wants to count on him. So that is it as far as the updates about this meeting that took place between Laporta, Deco, Alemany, and all those involved, where Laporta told Alemany, you need to really work on these projects. There's more news. The next news is about Messi. Huge news. But let's head back to the comment section, and then we'll get back to the whole Messi thing because, again, huge news. Okay. The horse says, where are you seeing the kits for next year? Footy Headlines. Footy Headlines is the webpage that leaks the kits for all the teams every year. I've been following them for years, and they have never been wrong. I mean, maybe other teams, but as far as Barcelona, they have never been wrong. So Footy Headlines, they always manage, I don't know how, they always manage to get their hands on whatever kit is going to be next. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm wearing my jersey because we are campeones. Anyways, let's get back to the comment section. Oh, Muhammad says, I'm very happy, and yesterday was his birthday. So that's amazing. Muhammad, happy birthday. If you speak Arabic, kul sana wa tasalim, kul aam wa tabkhair. That's amazing that you got to celebrate your birthday on a day that Barcelona became champions. I remember, so I share a birthday with the club. We're both, I was born on November 29, which is the date that the club was established, November 29. And I remember one of the best gifts that the club ever gave me, besides being founded, was that 5-0 against Real Madrid, La Manito. I don't know if you guys remember, back in the golden era with Iniesta and Xavi and Villa. I think Villa scored 2 goals. Pedro scored 1. 5-0. That was the day of my birthday. That was one of the best gifts that Barcelona could have gave me. All right, let's see. Nima says, outrageous. I see media posts, not just comments, on how Barca is to blame for Espanyol fans' actions. Yeah, unfortunately, whatever Barcelona does, they're always going to be blamed. If tomorrow there's an earthquake in Spain, they're going to say it was Barcelona's fault because they partied too hard and they caused the earth to shake or some crap that they would make up. All right, let's see. Leon says, yes, Barca official channel. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways. The horse says, with Rafinha leave, though, again, only last-ditch effort. If nothing else works out, then he would offload him. Cinto says, if Messi comes back, how many seasons he's going to play? All right. That's a great segue because the next news segment, ladies and gentlemen, is that Jean Laporta has said loud and clear that Barcelona are going to go after Messi with everything that they got. and they will try to sign him this summer. So Laporta, since last night, has been giving interviews left and right all morning to all the media outlets in Spain. And pretty much in every interview that he's given, he's said the same exact thing, that Barcelona are going to fight for Messi this summer. They want to bring him back. Laporta wants Messi back. Messi wants to come back to Barcelona. So they want to make it happen. And he had some very interesting statements that he said, for the longest time, they said Messi wasn't going to come back because his relationship with Laporta had deteriorated, because the whole fiasco where he was forced to leave. Well, it seems like Jean Laporta has smoothed that relationship over. And he said today in an interview, and I quote, "I have spoken with him," obviously speaking about Messi, "recently to rectify the situation after I had to put the club before everything, even him, the best player in the world. It was a pleasant conversation. We have recovered the relationship we have had for many years. With all due respect to Saudi Arabia, where a lot of good work and investment is taking place around the league there, Barca is Barca. Barca is his home. Barca can compete with anyone. The history this club has and the feeling of our 400 million supporters is so strong." So really, really interesting statements by Laporta, again, confirming that, yes, Barcelona are going to be going after Messi to try to sign him. And the most important thing here is that Laporta has admitted that he has talked to Messi, that they have smoothed things over. And I think that was a huge, huge step, because that was one of the things that a lot of people were saying in Argentina, a lot of reporters saying that Messi wants to come back, but the only way he would come back is if Laporta or Barcelona reach out to him, because, again, he was very hurt about how things ended last time. And the fact that Laporta has called Messi, they have smoothed things over, they're talking again. I think that's a huge, huge obstacle out of the way for Messi's return. Of course, there's still the whole financial thing. But if Barcelona do get the green light, which they will this week from La Liga about the feasibility plan, and of course, it is possible to bring Leo Messi back. And yes, Al Hilal are offering him 400 million euros a season, which is insane. But again, Barcelona have a huge leg up over them, and it's that Barcelona is and will always be Leo Messi's home, not just the club itself, but also the city itself. So Barcelona do have that over Al Hilal, regardless of how much money the Saudi club could try to offer Leo Messi. Now, someone asked how many seasons it would be. There's talks about that the contract that Barcelona sent over to Messi, it's a draft. Of course, it's not an official contract. An official contract cannot be sent until the whole financial fair play rules are figured out. But what reporters are saying that the draft is a 2-season contract with an option to renew for one more, and with around something, I think it was 13 million euro net salary. So that's the draft that we send. That's reportedly Messi is okay with. So we'll just have to see once Barca gets the official green light from La Liga for the feasibility plan, and once the market starts, because it is reported that Messi is not going to agree to anything until his contract expires with PSG in June 30th, because, out of respect for the Parisian club, which I don't know why anyone would respect that circus, but that's the kind of guy Messi is. All right, let's get back to the comment section. Nassinima says, is it true that Laporta said to Mendes he can bring in Neves only if he sells Ansu for 30 mil more than Neves' price? There's a lot of talk about Neves. Nothing is confirmed, but there is talks about the board of directors really wanting to bring Neves, but we've known this for months. They really want to bring him because they consider it, a good deal. But Xavi is really, really fighting it. So for now, there's a huge divide, I guess, in the club with Xavi, and not just Xavi, the entire sport and technical staff, Xavi, his coaches, all the scouts, everybody in the club who works in the sporting department are saying, no, yes, Neves is a good player, but he is not a Barca profile. It would not work here. But the board of directors seem to be insisting. So we'll see who's going to win. Hopefully Neves doesn't come, because, again, it's not going to make sense to pay for a player who's just going to sit on the bench, because if Xavi doesn't want him, he's obviously not going to play him. Anyways, let's get back to, or actually, let's do 2 more comments, because I only did 1. Thomas says, Balde makes me so happy. What a talent. Dribbling, speed, assists, goals. Yes. Balde, we are very, very blessed to have this guy. He's definitely one of the best left backs in the world. And I have no doubt that in a year or two, he will be the best left back in the world. Total beast. we're very, very lucky to have him. Anyways, let's get back to the news because we now know how much Gundogan has accepted to lower his salary to come to Barcelona. Now, we all know Gundogan's contract expires with Manchester City at the end of the season. He doesn't want to renew with the Premier League club. He's looking for a new challenge. He wants to come to Barcelona. Now, Gundogan currently makes around 8 million euros at Manchester City. When he decided to start looking for a new club, he was asking for 10 million. You know, a lot of players do this when they know it's their last contract. They try to cash out, try to get as much money as possible before it's time for retirement or before it's time to go, you know, to a smaller team or a smaller league, etc. So he was asking for 10 million, and it looks like he has accepted to reduce his salary down to 5 to 6 million euros. So that's not only less than what he was asking for, that's even less what he's currently making at Manchester City, which just goes to show the huge, huge sacrifice that the Turkish-German midfielder is willing to make to come to Barcelona. And that's, of course, deeply, deeply appreciated because it goes to show that he's not coming here for money. He's not coming here for fame. He's coming here because he wants to come here, because he wants to wear our colors. He wants to play for Barcelona. And that's, of course, very amazing and appreciated, especially in today's day where players are only looking for the biggest paycheck they can get. It's really good to see someone who wants to come to Barcelona for the love of the club, not for the love of the money. Now, they're saying that Xabi's phone call was hugely instrumental in Gundogan lowering his salary demands. It looks like Xabi called them, said, hey, we really want you. We think you can be a fundamental piece of this new project. We could do great things together, but you need to understand the club doesn't have money, so you need to reduce your expectations. And it looks like Gundogan accepted. And that just goes to show something, and I've talked about this in previous videos. It's been a few months that I haven't mentioned this, but that goes to show what kind of power Barcelona has as far as image, as far as brand. Because one thing that Bartomeu didn't understand, or maybe he did understand, but he still didn't care, and is that people want to play at Barcelona. Bartomeu was offering players contracts way above market value, you know, try to compete with other clubs. Like with other clubs would offer someone 20, Bartomeu would come in, I'll offer you 40 so you can come. And that's something that Laporta understands. It's like you don't need to do that with Barcelona because people want to come to Barcelona. You don't have to try to give these players bigger contracts than any other club to try to convince them to come to Barcelona. These players already grow up dreaming of playing in Barcelona. They want to come to Barcelona. You don't have to give them these huge contracts to come. They're already willing to come. And this is a huge, you know, proof of that is that not only are they willing to come, but they're also willing to accept even lower offers than what other clubs are offering them. You know, Lewandowski did that, Rafinha did that, Koundé did that, Gundogan's doing that, Kessie, Christensen, they all had much better offers from other clubs, and yet they all accepted the lower salaries, the lower contracts to come to Barcelona. And during a time where Barcelona is going through a lot of problems, and that just goes to show the power of the Barcelona brand, something that Bartomeu did not understand and did not capitalize on, but yet Laporta does. All right, let's go back to the comment section, and then we'll end with two brief news. One is about Amrabat, the other one is about Pavard, and then we'll do more comments, and we'll see what you guys are saying. All right. Dio says, are we still going for Firmino? We never were going for Firmino. There were just rumors. I mean, yes, Laporta likes Firmino, but all the money that he's asking, he would be free agent, obviously, but he's asking for a lot of money as far as signing bonuses for him, for his agent, for his mom, for his dog. All this money that he's asking for, it's just impossible. So Barcelona, yes, they would like to have him, but they never contemplated it. David says, let's give some love to Barca Femini too, please. Yes, Barcelona Femini, again, also La Liga champions. They were crown champions a couple of weeks ago with 6 matches left to go. They're having an undefeated season. They were having a perfect season where they had won 26 out of 26 matches, but then they drew 1 match against Sevilla. So that kind of ruined the perfect streak. But nonetheless, it's still an undefeated streak, so they can still finish La Liga completely undefeated, not having lost a single match. Amazing what they're doing. They're going to play the final of the Women's Champions League, and hopefully they win it. Okay, Nima says, I don't want Neves either, but how do you feel about it being a catalyst for selling Ansu for 80? I mean, if you bring Neves, he was worth 40. And then if you sell in Ansu for 80, that means you're only getting 40 in cash and 40 in the player. I think we're back to square one. Unless you bring Neves and turn around and sell him right away. But that's not going to happen because Neves wants to come to Barcelona. He's not just going to arrive and accept to leave. So I think it'd be a bad deal either way. Sintu says, Mo, Gundogan is 32 years. That concerns me. Yes, but he still has at least 2 or 3 more seasons in him. I mean, look at Lewandowski. He came at 33, and so far he's had a great first season. You know, some players can still play into their mid-30s. I mean, look at Messi. He's about to be 36, and he's still like one of the best in the world. So I think Gundogan still has a couple more seasons in his boots. Leon says Barca should buy that 18-year-old CDM from Uruguay. I've already talked about that in previous video. That was the plan. Right now, it's stuck because Liverpool de Montevideo, which is the club where Fabricio Diaz plays, now they want more money. So that's where things have taken a turn for the worse. But Barcelona do want to sign Fabricio Diaz. Fabricio Diaz does want to come to Barcelona. Everything is agreed to with the player, his agent, the club. Everything is good to go. But his club want more money. Anyways, let's do the last 2 bits of news. And then I do have an announcement about a raffle that's coming up. So stick to the end of this stream because it's a big one. Anyways, let's talk about Amrabat. Barcelona are still working on Amrabat. I know I get a lot of questions in the comment section. What about Amrabat? What about Amrabat? Xabi wants him. He's asked the club to bring him. The club are working on it. And they think that they can sign him for around 20 to 25 million euros, which is huge because apparently during the winter transfer market when Barcelona were trying to sign him, apparently Fiorentina were asking for 60 million euros because the World Cup had just ended and Amrabat's value had skyrocketed. So they were asking for 60 million euros, which is, of course, no way in hell that Barcelona could have afforded that. So, but now they think that they can get him around 20 to 25. And that's mostly because the player only has 1 season left on his contract. So obviously, the less you have left on your contract, the more your price, the less that the club who owns you or you play for, I don't want to say own you, that sounds bad, the less that the club that you play for can ask for. Also, Amrabat has made it clear to Fiorentina that he's only interested in Barcelona. So that, of course, helps the case of Barcelona because now there's no bidding war. You know, if other clubs come say, I'll give you 50, 60, 70, if Fiorentina cannot look at Barcelona and say, well, look at all these guys, they're offering me more money because guess what? The player has said, I'll only go to Barcelona. So you're only forced to negotiate with Barcelona. So they're stuck negotiating with us. And Barcelona think they can get him for 20 to 25 million euros, which is, of course, great news. The other news is about Benjamin Pavard. And I bring this up because he was someone that had been linked with Barcelona for several months because his contract expires with Bayern Munich in the summer of 2024. And there was talks about the player not wanting to renew with the Bundesliga club and wanting to look for a new challenge. And he wanted to come to Barcelona, and Barcelona were negotiating with him and his agent. And for the longest time, it seemed that Benjamin Pavard could be the one for the right back position. But it seems that those negotiations fell through because the player wanted more money, more than what Barcelona could offer him. And now that Tuchel became the coach of Bayern Munich, which has a lot of trust in Pavard, and Pavard has a lot of trust in him. It looks like the French defender will be renewing his contract with the Bundesliga club. So that's all the news, guys. Let's do 3 more comments, and then I have, again, a big announcement about the raffle. I'll say it once I do the comments. 79 people watching, only 38 likes. Let's hit those likes button and make it 79 watching, 79 likes. Sintu says, I would take McAllister over Gundogan. Yeah, but how are you going to pay for McAllister? That's the question. Nima says, Nima's talking to Leon, so never mind. Texas Kale says, hello from Toronto. Oh, awesome. I didn't know there's anybody watching in Canada. Hello to our northern neighbors. Any concrete reports on Lenglet and Desale? So Lenglet is pretty much, I don't want to say a done deal, but it's for sure he's staying. Barcelona are expecting an official offer from Tottenham in the upcoming days. You know, Tottenham want to keep Lenglet. Lenglet want to stay at Tottenham. Barcelona are okay with it. There's been a lot of contact between the clubs back and forth. Everything is going the right way, and Barcelona expect an official offer to come in the upcoming days. So Lenglet will be staying at Tottenham. As far as Dest, it looks like he's going to Union Berlin. There's still some things to figure out. But for now, it looks like he's going to Union Berlin. Let's see what else. Leon says, I really like that CDM Nima. He's also not talking to me, so it's okay. Estada says Xavi is the boss and he can have whatever he wants. Yes, but of course there's financial limitations, but it is what it is. Sintu says Jesus, not Amrabat again. And I will say Jesus, yes, Amrabat again, because Amrabat would be a great addition to the team. Reformed says Messi, Lewa, Gundu have only 2 more years playtime and they done. I don't like where this is going. Okay, that's fine, but I mean, you have to, in every project, you have to have different players in different stages of their career. You cannot have a project where everybody is 20 years old because that project is not going to work. Because yes, those 20-year-olds have plenty of energy and plenty of years in their boots left, but they have no experience. So on the other hand, you do need older players, veterans, who, yes, maybe they don't have much time left in their boots, but they have all the experience that they can pass it on to the youngsters. And of course, you also have to have those players right in the middle, the prime players who have both, the age to be able to perform at a high level, but also the experience. So every team needs a variation of all 3 categories. You cannot have a project with all youngsters. You obviously can't have a project with all old people. You have to have players from all different categories. You have to have a well-balanced team. And the things that Messi, Lewa, and Gundogan can do in 2 seasons, we're talking about, not just trophies. Forget about trophies. Even if Barcelona didn't win trophies, just all the sponsorship deals, all the money that they're going to bring in, all the revenue, all the income, all that can then not only save the club financially, but then the club can use that money to sign players who have more years left in their boots. So yes, it does sound bad when you think about it. They only have 2 years left. But when you think about what kind of benefit they can bring to the club in the long run with all the money that they're going to generate, then you start to see how maybe it's not such a bad idea. Okay, Tejas says, hi Mo, don't you feel we should have looked at Grimaldo? Also, isn't Barca considering Yuri Tillman? No, Tillman there's no money for Tillman, and Grimaldo wasn't really ever on the Barcelona high interest list. People hype up Grimaldo, but he's not as good as people think. Anyways, big announcement, guys. The announcement is that on May 25th is the 1-year anniversary of Barca News. It's crazy to say it. I started this channel 1 year ago on May 25th, 2022. I did it just something. I was bored, to be honest. I was working from home. I love Barcelona. I wanted to create, something where I could just discuss my love for the club or what's going on. I also wanted to create it as a solution because, as a Barca fan, I was constantly have to go look at different websites, look at different media outlets, just so I can get all the different bits of newses and try to put a whole picture together. And it would take me hours just scouring through the media, online media and TV and YouTube. And finally, I said, I want to create a place where you can come here, watch a 10-minute video and get all your news all from one place without having to jump around all these different media outlets. So that's why I created this channel. I also wanted to be, kind of an independent voice for Barca News. Unfortunately, the mainstream in media mostly are Madrid-leaning media. They all have a propaganda. They're all that they like to, spew against Barcelona. So I kind of wanted to be, just another voice in favor of Barcelona who brings you, the actual news of what's going on in Barcelona, not that everything that Barcelona does is corrupt and that all of our titles are bought. And finally, I wanted to just start this community of people, Barca fans, where we can come here, we could talk about Barca, we could share our opinions. And when I started it, I thought, this might be me and 5 other guys, and I never thought, it would grow to the point that it is. I mean, I know 4,500 subscribers doesn't sound like a lot when you have channels who have millions, but to me, it's huge. And, to have you guys' support is absolutely amazing. For you guys to come to the stream, to watch the videos, to like them, to comment on them, to subscribe to the channel, it means the world to me. And again, I never would have thought we would get to the point where we are. No matter how small the channel is, to me, it's the biggest channel, and you guys are the best community. So as a thank you, I will be raffling not 1, not 2, but 3 Barcelona jerseys. And I will have the details in tomorrow's video on how to participate. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm deeply, deeply thankful for all of you guys' support. So I will be opening the raffle tomorrow. And on the 25th, which is the first year anniversary of Barcelona, Barca News, I will be picking the 3 lucky winners who will get to take home a Barcelona jersey. Anyways, guys, let's do 2 more comments and then we will wrap it up. Teja Sergio Mohammed, Reform, they all say congratulations. Thank you guys again. This wouldn't be possible without you guys. Thomas says, love your channel, but I jump all over Twitter and the internet all day long for Barca news because it's a hobby. That's funny. And Reform says, thank you for your valuable content. Thank you, Reform. Thank you, Nuris. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Fatty, new subscriber. Welcome to the channel, guys. Anyways, thank you again for watching the stream, for sharing your opinions, for all your support. Thank you for those who will be watching the video once it ends. Again, we are champions. Let's celebrate. Let's shout as loud as possible. Visca Barça, Visca Catalunya, and have a good night, guys.